Now, you might have heard of the term fight or flight before. Basically, it's this thing that developed in our cavemen ancestors as a survival mechanism. And it would give them a jolt of adrenaline and energy so that when they came into contact with, like, a lion, they could fight it off or run away or maybe do both and manage to live another day. Now, I will admit, I do recall hearing fight or flight somewhere in my childhood education, but I don't recall the follow-on bit, which is that this response mechanism is not ancient history. It was actually passed down to all of us as human beings, like it's coded in our DNA somehow. And so because we are humans, these kinds of reactions happen to us or inside of us. Our bodies do things autonomously. They are not choices. They are a reflex reaction that happens to us. And also, while fight or flight is a pretty common phrase, those two reactions are not the only ones that our human bodies might have to some form of a stressful trigger. There's actually 4 primary ones, and some people even talk about a couple others. I'm going to stick with 4, and I will walk you through them quickly. By the way, for the sake of the exercise, I think it's helpful to talk about it in the context of a scenario. So we're going to pretend that a honey badger has just come into your field of vision, and, it's kind of cute. But you are also aware that honey badger don't care, and honey badger is naturally armed and dangerous. So reaction 1 that you might have is a fight response. You might attack the thing or take aggressive actions toward honey badger, like kick it, punch it, yell at it. Reaction number 2 is the flight response. You might try to literally run away or avoid honey badger entirely. Reaction number 3 is the freeze response. Your body would essentially play dead so honey badger doesn't see you as a threat, or maybe they won't even notice that you're there because you're not making movements to get their attention. And number 4 is the fawn response, which is where you might appeal to honey badger saying things like, "Don't hurt me, I'll do whatever you want." It doesn't really make sense in terms of the honey badger, but if you do happen to be a natural people pleaser like I am, you might find you are fawning in all sorts of different parts of your life. One of the things you should also understand about stress responses is they go beyond simply having a physical or extreme emotional reaction in the moment. Another thing that happens when you're in this state is that your rational brain, your frontal cortex, this is the thinking part of your brain, it effectively goes offline and you stop being able to have rational thoughts. Some people call it the Amygdala Hijack because that tiny little part in the center of your brain actually takes over and your thinking brain is no longer calling the shots. Now, the reality is stress responses happen all the time. When something unexpected happens, when you're stepping on stage to talk to a crowd of people, when someone else in your life has a stress response, which causes you to have one too. But there is some good news about all of this. The physiological purpose of a stress response is to manage an immediate and typically short-term danger. Once the threat is gone, your body was built to return to a state of equilibrium. And there's actually things you can do to accelerate the process. What you need to do is complete the physiological loop of what is happening inside your body. Basically, flush a bunch of hormones and chemicals out. The most obvious thing you can do is actually go on a run or do a really intense workout. This is like literally having a fight response. But there's plenty of other things that have been proven to be effective, like you can do some other kind of exercise. Go dancing, play sports, go on a walk. Having a good cry is a really great one. And what's really interesting there is when tears come out, they actually excrete some of those hormones. It's kind of wild. You can have a good laugh, pause and do some deep breathing or meditation. Emotional connection is another one. A nice long hug could be great with your partner, with a friend, with a pet. You can do something creative, draw a picture, cook something, go in the garden. And another thing I haven't read about, but I use it for some of my bigger, like high stress moments, is to get a massage. And the last one is to get a really good rest. Getting sleep is so important for getting your body back to where it needs to be. Stress response is one of many things we acquired from our caveman ancestors. And in my very personal experience, while it may suck to learn about some of these rude things that our bodies do to us, I'm so much better off knowing about them, and more importantly, perhaps, what I can do to navigate them. And the way I look at these things now is they're inevitable, but they're predictable. And if you know about them, you can prepare for them to happen. But on the flip side, if you don't know they exist, they can surprise you like hidden traps. And ultimately, they can hold you back.